We're here at Combe Ridge. This is the Butler Wash Anasazi ruin that we're going to be checking out in this alcove that's just out of view. This is near Blanding, Utah, within Bears Ears National Monument. Relatively new national monument that I think was created by President Obama. So there's a regular trail that takes one to an overlook. I'm going to try and see if I can get right up to the ruins, and we'll see what they look like up in person. So the Anasazi are well known for their cliff dwellings and their pictographs and petroglyphs that span all throughout the Four Corners region. Perhaps most famous is Mesa Verde Park in Colorado. There's also Hoven Weep. There's Chimney Rock, which is kind of the easternmost extent of where their civilization was. And then there's also many other archaeological sites within Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. Oh, Chaco culture, that's probably one of the more famous ones as well. These all date back at least 1,000 years. It turns out there's actually a ruin kind of opposite of where the main ruins are. I just saw a glimpse of it in the corner of my eye. It's under that alcove there. I'm sure when these were first discovered, there was probably pottery shards and leftover artifacts all over the place. I'm sure it's been heavily cleaned out now. That is cool to see. And you can see all the charcoal on the ceiling here where they were probably burning things during the night. A lot of times you'll find interesting little pictographs, petroglyphs. In fact, I think I see one right here. Sure looks like it. Some sort of circular spiral and maybe a snake or something like that. And this is how their civilization lived. There's an Indian mortar. Okay, so this is our first little dwelling that we found. Right in the typical Navajo sandstone. And we're gonna proceed on to the main ruins now. Actually, I'm gonna spur off. There's an alcove right here, just past the one I was at. There's no dwellings here, of course, but I see some pictographs there. They almost look like owl eyes. So I gotta cross the other side of the wash because the main alcove's there. That's where you can see all the ruins. And I gotta cross somewhere up in there, kind of ledge walk, and I should be able to get right up to them. Man, it is so humid. I feel like I'm back east. Smells like it too. Looks like people have gone up this way. Oh, that's cool. So where you see the black line streaming down, that's where the little creek comes through. And there's a natural arch. You can see the whole of it right there in the middle of the screen. A couple alcoves right by me. I may check those out, but I want to see the big one first. There's 3 recesses here. The first one, you can kind of tell that I think something was constructed here. It's very much in ruins. You hear dripping water, which is the source of life for the civilization. Here's some of the water right here. Okay, the second alcove has a wall with an abode right behind it. We'll check that out in a minute. And here's the primary ruin of Butler Wash. Water's dripping from up above. Oh, here's what they call a kiva. I don't quite remember what those were. I think something ceremonial. This is cool. There's quite an elaborate amount of ruins here. A couple kivas, in fact. I'm just stay on the rocks, that way I'm not leaving my footprints. And it's important to never touch these formations. The oils on your skin can have a damaging effect. Just all this hardened clay with all the rocks that they built. I imagine there's got to be some petroglyphs or pictographs around here. Looking at the other end here, that's kind of cool. Nice ruin. It's definitely better than what I was expecting it to be. Most of the ruins are kind of like that first one that we saw, which was straight down below. I want to say it's directly below in there. No, it was further that way. But this one's definitely a good representation of everything. It looks like people have left behind. I think those are little pottery shards. Okay, so these right here are definitely some pottery shards. Here's my hand for scale. Let's walk over to the far end here. Little cubby hole. That's cool how they put like these little red rocks, kind of support material with the clay. And then here you can see a wooden twig, a couple wooden twigs actually. And that's what scientists can radiocarbon date to determine the age of these ruins. Walk on down now. There's that other alcove that I mentioned with that ruin. We're going to check that out. I'm just going to walk this way first a little bit, because you never know if there's any pictographs or petroglyphs. Somebody put these anchor points here. That ledge up ahead here looks a little risky. I don't think I'll go across. But if I did, right around the corner is where that overhanging natural arch is. Part of me thinks that being a hunter-gatherer would have been a very nice lifestyle. Sure, I would have had to fend off enemies and pretty much have a short lifespan, but in a way it's just very simplistic. None of this has hardly even changed. It's been a long time since I've checked out some cliff dwellings. Oh, you can see where they, I think these are the prehistoric steps that they etched in. They look pretty old at least. Wow, look at all the soot on the ceiling here. This must have been like a smokehouse. A lot of people have been here. You can see human tracks. This is pretty cool. Some more pock marks here. Just makes you curious. You could see all the smooth, this is probably where they did a lot of grinding. In fact, you could see a lot of all their work here. This is probably where they made a lot of meals and whatnot, my guess. Alright, looks like the only way inside of this thing is through this little cubby hole. Anyway, I hope this captures through. I'm not going to go inside, of course. But this is very classic for a good photograph. Oh, there's a piece of wood sticking out right there. Just makes you wonder. So this big alcove directly below the ruins, I think it's a very large cave. I don't see anything at the moment. I'm sure there was some habitation though. I don't really see a nice way down, that's the thing. I just kept following the high ledge here, and there's another dwelling tucked right in this crevice. Just a little makeshift home. People really squeeze through some really tight slots. So there might be some more dwellings directly below, but it's getting way too muggy, and gotta get moving. Okay, one more alcove. There's not really much as far as ruins go. You can see some of the grinding that they made on these rocks. I'm trying to find some good pictographs. I don't know if I see any. I thought I saw them from afar, but it's just a little mineral staining in the ceiling. Oh, this rock has a lot of work done on it, including like these tally marks. More done right here. Oh yeah, what an incredible view. And this is that natural arch. Crossing the arch. Oh, look at that. There's some handprints across the way. Let's see. Alright, I think they're the real deal. I just gotta see if I can get down and be able to get back out of this. Well, there's a lot of recent signatures, and they're on all the old Indian grindings. I wonder if these are the... Yeah, it's hard to tell. Anasazi hands tended to be a lot smaller than mine. I tend to have long fingers, so they could be the real deal. They could be fake too. And they tended to be made out of vermilion, which is mercury sulfide, also known as cinnabar. I feel like there's some handprints here. It's a pretty cool perspective. Okay, so I don't know if those were real handprints. But as I'm coming over to this side of the arch, I am definitely seeing fainter handprints, and some of them are missing from the broken rock. And they look a lot smaller. 2 hands here. Yeah, I want to say that these are definitely legit Anasazi handprints. They're very hard to see, and I don't even know if the camera's detecting them. But there's a whole string of them there, string of them there. You can kind of see them over there. Actually, there's the more I'm looking, the more they're everywhere. Yeah, these hands are definitely way smaller. And I think these were adult handprints. And a lot of Anasazi pictographs will be made. A lot of them are handprints. This isn't the first time I've ever seen anything like it. There's another hand right here. I'm not sure though. Oh, these little pools have tons of the, I don't know if they're tadpoles. There's just tons of them. Okay, so I went for a little bit of a bath here. Oh, I feel so much better. It's time to head on out now, and we'll just cross back over this arch. I realize now that those little steps that were made leading down through the arch here, those were definitely made by the Anasazi, and they led right to where all the handprints were. It was cool to actually see that. So here's one last view. It's hard to see the steps. They go down at an angle there, and then the hands are all alongside the wall there. And I could just imagine the kids playing in these pools way back in the day. So this region has a lot of cliff dwellings. I really want to come back here another summer, or well, probably another fall when it's a lot cooler, and try to hunt down some more of these alcoves. Right along the highway here, I see what appears to be another small little cliff dwelling. They're just everywhere. I wish I had more time out in this region. I would scour every single canyon for these things. Okay, so a couple of old walls here. Actually a decent sized ruin. It's one of those pits, I guess. I don't know what the correct terminology is. You see some soot marks here. It's kind of a little makeshift ruin. This is probably the best preserved spot right here, is this little shelter. It's cool to think that this has all been intact for over 1,000 years or so. So I just need to find a way to get back up to the highway. Well, it's raining pretty lightly. It actually feels really good. And I'm going to take this trail through the wash. Hopefully it doesn't flash flood on me. And we're going to check out the more famous, well-known House on Fire ruin. And it's only about 0.8 miles from here. So there is an established trail, but I'm finding it for the most part easier to just hike along the wash. That looks almost like a mortar. Just sitting right there in the middle of the wash. And this, I believe, is the house on fire ruin. And it's called that because from a certain angle here, the way the slab sandstone looks, it looks like the house is on fire. Yeah, just like that. So just peering inside here. Again, it's pitch black. Very straight window here. There's an interior view. I guess there is a little bit of lighting. Looks like they put signs everywhere in here. See the charcoal ceiling here. It's cool to just sit right here. Relax. It's raining steadily out above there, but I'm all sheltered. I am still sweaty. Not as bad as before. This constant drizzle has been really nice. So the last pit stop is this Mule Canyon ruins. This one's very easy access from the highway. And it's very close to the house on fire ruin. Matter of fact, you get a little bit that way, then you come to the edge of the Mule Canyon itself, and right across the way was where I was at. So these are not cliff dwellings, obviously. They're a little bit more exposed out in the elements. And I'm not sure what this thing is here. I suppose I could have read the signs, but I just was a little bit hasty. Looks like people have climbed down into this. Okay, so here's what we have. There was the kiva, of course. Earthen kiva, not restored. And then the tower, which is probably that structure that I saw. And then these were the rooms, the room block. So dates from about 750 to 1300. And there's just so much to see in this area. That's going to be it for ruins. There's so many more around here. I think there's one called Cave Towers, not too far from here. If it's easily accessible, maybe I might jaunt over. But I'm gonna hit the road here, get into Colorado by tonight.